He's a dog breeder too.
Are we rolling or no? Yeah, we're rolling. All right, welcome back to Rollin with the Homies, episode 2. We got Chris Holdsworth, and we got my boy Cody No Love Garbrandt in the building.
Rolling.
Excited to be back. This is fun. The first episode was fun, and I think it's just only going to get better once we, get the swing of things, get more comfortable. We're already comfortable with each other.
I was hard the whole time, thanks to Blue Chew. Thanks to Blue Chew.
Yeah, well, that's cool. We were just talking about the old Twitter days and how, nowadays you can't get away with anything. Like, people, have a microscope over you, and they just want to, put you on blast and
hit that tweet and delete, John Jones style.
Dude, what is John? You think John just gets he drinks and gets pretty hammered at night and just writes stuff out, and then in the morning he just deletes it?
And his manager or publicist is like, John.
He wakes up.
John, what are you doing?
He wakes up. He's like, damn, I shouldn't have tweeted that.
Shit, my Twitter was hacked again.
Yeah. You can always pull off the whole hack trick. Like, oh, it was hacked. Sorry.
Yeah. Wow.
But, man, I want to talk about Joe Rogan came into town this past weekend.
Missed it.
And, you were out of town.
Sorry, JoJo.
Yeah, but it was a great show. Ian Edwards opened up, then he had Tony Hinchcliffe, and then Joe destroyed it. I think he did it over an hour.
Nice.
And I've been to a few different Joe stand-up shows, and I felt like this was the best one for me. And I don't know if it was his material or maybe he's just finally he's always had great bits, but I think this one for me it was hilarious. I was laughing nonstop.
Was you on some drugs?
No, maybe it was because I had a few drinks.
Maybe, man. Some Jeremiah Reds.
Yeah, but something funny happened, and going back to his story, Rogan had a whole mushroom bit. He talks about mushrooms a lot. And your previous, when we went to Austin and you had your podcast little thing with him, I foraged for some mushrooms and ended up giving Joe a gift in Austin. And I remember when I handed it to him, I was like, Joe, are you going to eat these? Because if you're not, just give them back. And he looked at me, he was like, oh, I'm going to eat them.
I believe it.
And we just laughed. So, during the show, a buddy of mine gave me floor seats, so I didn't know I was gonna be that close. So I was literally I can see Joe, and I'm not sure if he can see me, but I swear, bro, during the mushroom bit, we made eye contact. He looked at me, and I was like, I felt like we were vibing. And he was like,
that connection. This shit right here.
Who knows?
This shit I'm about to say on this mushroom bit was from the mushroom game. I thought of this shit on there.
Oh man, so that was going through my head the whole time, and I was just cracking up, but yeah, what's your relationship with Joe?
Joe, I feel like we have a good relationship. It's when we see each other. I've been invited a few times on his podcast. We see each other outside of our professional careers.
Yeah.
Backstage. At UFC fights, and it's always good to see Joe. I mean, he always gives you a big hug, big smile. Asks how the family's doing, how your life's doing. It's not that typical question when you see fighters or other people that are in the fight game, so we got a fight lined up.
Yeah.
It's more personal shit, like family and how little things like that, not just hey, when's the next fight?
Because he knows he's been around it so long, and he's a martial artist himself. So
when he studies us too, first commentating, he knows backstories on us, and he really studies every fighter. That's why he's such a great commentator and knows so much. Beyond the martial arts as humans, and as the mental, the physical, how demanding it is. Dude, I'm such a big fan of him across the board with all the endeavors that he does. His comedy.
Imagine all the people he influences, though. Not only I saw so many faces I knew at the show. It was crazy, and I know Sacramento's not that big, but I kept seeing face to face. I was like, jiu-jitsu. Know him from somewhere, I don't know where, but I kept seeing face to face.
Oh, right there, man. We matched on Bumble. Oh, okay.
But yeah, Joe's always been super cool to me too. I've never been able to hang out with him outside of just seeing him. Hopefully one day we get to smoke up or do something.
Let's do a collab podcast. Roll with the homies.
Hey,
get Joe on here.
Hey, you know what's funny about that? So when we went to do his podcast with you, I was almost prepared. I was like, what if he asked me to be on? Because I didn't know. I was like, I'm just going to let Cody do his thing. But if he does ask, because I know he does have guests come on sometimes, I was like, shit, what if he asked me to come on? I was all nervous, but
dude,
Ray just told you to come back there. I was like, whoo! I didn't have to sit through and just try to like.
Shit, we went and worked out. We were on an all-night bender the night before at the strip club. Oh man.
Austin
ate
trips,
some mushrooms.
Yeah, Austin trips are always
went and worked out at the Island Academy with Juan, trying to kill us. Then we worked out too before that.
Yeah,
doing pads and just flowing. So we were already like zipped up. I couldn't calm my heart rate down driving there because I don't know if it was the caffeine mixed with the mushrooms and just.
Then he gave us all monsters when we got there.
Yeah, he's like, you want a monster? I'm like, well, I might die on. You might be the first one that dies on your podcast.
Yeah, I can't drink energy drinks. They just get me going.
Coffee does enough for me.
Yeah.
And as you can see, Chris bought me another one. Appreciate
it. Yeah, I got you.
2 cups today maybe, but I had one before. So I was pretty zipping, but chill. Did the No Love TV right before this. So back-to-back podcast. Rolling with the homies. We're excited to break down, jump into past things that happened, where we're at now. It's great.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, man. The next topic, I think, is an important topic to talk about because I know I'm getting older. I know you're getting older. And the importance of injury prevention, body work, warm-ups, and this all kind of falls under the recovery, like it's all recovery, like sleeping right, eating right. I know for me, I've always been one of those guys, like you've talked about it before, the slight edge theory. Yeah. I always wanted that little edge, and if that's like stretching a little bit longer or sleeping an extra hour, I wanted to get that edge to help me recover or help me train harder the next day. So I know for me, I need at least 2 good warm-ups before I train hard with like a good guy, or 2 good warm-up rounds. And that's like at least 10 minutes of warm-up with some mobility before that. I just can't hop into rolls anymore or hop into hard training. Just 20 years of martial arts and getting my body banged up. Like, it's taking its toll. And so what do you like to do, Cody? I want to ask you, what are your like go-to ways to either warm up or recover? And then I'll talk about a few of mine.
Me, for recovery, I'll stay on warm up, and that's something that I'm still trying to dial in for the fight. Is not doing too much, but also not doing too less, because you kind of want to go in that fight as you're prepared all camp. And with practices like yourself, that you run, we're at a high level drilling pace where your heart rate's up there. You're doing up downs, and then we go on to the live. So we're already. If you're drilling, you have a good drilling partner, and you're working the speed and technique and the reps, you can really, really push your heart rate in there and be exhausted before it gets to the fight. And that's what, you as a coach, me as a fighter, it's that flight or fight reaction. Now you're already tired. You can take a break. You can, kind of wilt. And your partner's just as tired. So when you go in those live rounds, you're already tired. So warming up, I think that having a good warm up, like you stated on, we spoke about it as well earlier, is coming there. And I mean warm up mental, physically, emotionally.
It all counts, right?
Like I always come to the gym early. I'm not the guy that can throw his bag down, kick his sandals off, and jump on the mat. I have to come in here, 45 minutes, maybe an hour early sometimes. Just get in the gym vibe. Just get yourself ready for, pushing it, to get better. Say you're already halfway. I always say showing up's half the battle. You're there now. Get yourself mentally and physically prepared. So I try to take it as like my training days. I'm there just like a fight would be. We're back and, just say we're at the Apex. We're at the UFC PI, and then we're getting shuttled to the Apex. We're there an hour before. We're just bullshitting, watching the fights on the TV. So just kind of getting that kind of fight vibe to where you're ready to push your body, for me. So I like the mental aspect of it as far as the physical demanding warm up, like making sure everything's warmed up, you're back. And, we talked yesterday or the day before about, I feel like when I have a good core warm up, getting my core activated and my neck, I feel like I'm more warmed up, my whole body. Even like sometimes you get stingers if neck's not warmed up, or sometimes we might go from striking to a grappling round, and you're not really as warm as you should be for that. So I say core and neck obviously lungs too, but you do a great job at making sure that everything, the dynamic warm up before we get into shadow spar, clinch work. But obviously, watching you stretch before, you stretch after, like you've always done it, and you've always had great mobility. My high kicks are getting there. They might kick you in the shoulder and the head. Chris, that motherfucker was zipping you right in the face every time. Wow, no warm up. But like you said, getting older, you're the first person that I kind of was like, you're a few years older than me, and you'd always be like, yeah, man, like wait till you get in, your upper 20s, man. He goes, you're gonna feel it. I got to like 28, and I was like, fuck, Chris is right. Holy shit.
It's crazy how it just catches up to you, right?
I was like 23, 24. I'm like, man, I feel good. Like, he's like, trust me, like, you have to stretch more and warm up more. And that's when I probably had to start doing. I had the back injury that, took me out for a year when I was the champion. To come back through that, like, me and Russ worked so hard at it, and I learned a lot about what I can and can't do as far as pushing and pulling, different exercises that I can't do. You kind of adapt. Like, our body's adapted to mixed martial arts because we're in such different uncompromised positions that like a regular football player or basketball player, they don't get in those.
It's different. It's and us different. As fighters, people need to understand is like we don't talk a lot about our injuries. Like people don't really care. We're fighters. We fight through things. I know I don't talk a lot about like stuff that's hurting me or like stuff that I've dealt with. But man, like looking back, I just saw a video like Stephan Bonner is going through it right now. Did you see that video of Stephan Bonner? Man, that guy, I'm not sure what's going on. I think he's having some pain addiction issues or not pain addiction. He's having pain in all his whole body, bro.
I believe
he went to the hospital to try to get like strength med or pain meds, and they turned him away and called the cops. I watched like a 20-minute video, but he's all jacked up, and that just tells you, like, if you don't take care of your body, and if you've been in MMA or martial arts long enough, it's going to catch up to you. So, one thing I can recommend, foam rolling has always helped me. Some people talk down on it. It's always helped me. It makes my, rolls out my IT bands, my glutes.
The glutes, baby. Glutes.
My traps, my lats. I really like foam rollers for that. And then I had this thing called the stick, which I would use for like my quads and my calves.
Sure.
And then if you got like a hot chick, she can get your neck.
Oh, hell yeah.
She just like get your neck and your back a little bit.
The roll recovery. I've been waiting one for years.
No, so Lovato, man. Lovato hooked me up with the roll. It's the best foam roller ever. It's called the Re-Roll.
Re-Roll, that's
and
it.
then Cody wants one, and he never got
like
back.
5-6 years,
no, I don't
bro.
think. I think he was like helping out with the company and he just never got back.
That is one of the best.
But then
ones.
the hyper gun now too is like really legit, right?
I got one of those. I got one, and especially like we're in martial arts, we might catch an elbow to the thigh or a knee to the forearm, where we can just like blast that gun and just get that the muscle broken up and get blood flowing back to it. I also like those bands. What kind of like a flushing band?
I know what you're talking about.
And those help out a lot for like if you have tightness, like get it up, get to just restrict the blood, get it going.
Yeah. And another thing, like a lot of that recovery and body work stuff is going to help. Like, it's going to prevent injury. Like I know for myself, I haven't had health insurance probably my whole MMA career, so like I have to be very careful. And you're probably looking at me like careful, like bro, you train hard, but I don't train as hard as I used to. But back in the day, man, like
you were training 4 or 5 times a day.
Back in the day, like I look back and I'm like, man, if I would have got really injured, like I don't know what I would have done because I had no money. I was just grinding.
Well, you pushed through a lot of yours. A lot of people wouldn't push through, or would be like, you know what, I'm gonna set this out, with your knee,
Bro, everything, man. It was like fighters know, like there's always going to be an injury. There's always going to be an obstacle that you have to get past or get over, and it's almost like the universe or whatever that your higher power is like, how bad do you want it?
Oh, for sure.
Like, do you want to get past this next obstacle? Like, oh, now you got to get past this roadblock. Then you get past that and you win a fight. You're like, damn, I'm on top of the world. Yeah. And then something else happens.
And there's always ways that this universe or, the higher power keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. So I give you guys a couple tips. Invest in injury prevention. Invest in your sleep. You're eating the right foods. That's super important too. If you guys are eating like crap, you're not going to be lasting long. Like your body's just going to wear down on you pretty quick. So invest in some body work, get some massage, ART, look up some
flow
good
therapy, hyperbaric chambers. Good. I like
saunas are really good too.
Saunas are good too. Exactly.
Yeah. Now we're sounding like Rogan, like get in the sauna.
Well, not Joe Rogan style, man. Not Joe Rogan style. That's intense. That's not many humans can go in there and do that. But I was talking to Garret earlier on the No Love TV podcast about what you just said, the diet, the clean eating. That's what you put in your body is how it's going to respond to immunity. We're talking about this pandemic thing, we're in COVID, like, a lot of obese, unhealthy, high cholesterol. That's what it's attacking. And you don't see that in the mainstream media, like exercise, get sunlight. They're
pushing, eat antidepressant meds and big farm, and they're pushing all that stuff. So like, I feel like they don't want you to exercise and get healthy. They want you to depend on the big farm and the hospitals. Yes. Like the hospitals are business, man. Like exactly. the medical is the business. Like they get paid off of people being sick and unhealthy. Yeah, you know what I mean? So like take care of all the main pillars. Nutrition, exercise, sunlight, sleep. Yeah. Those are like your main 4. Once you have those taken care of, now if you're still having issues, maybe you go get professional help. But I understand everybody's different. Everyone needs different help. But those are my main tips for that.
Healthiness, I love it.
All right, so just noticed you came back. You were working with Uncle Bob. Man, I feel like Uncle Bob was a big part of your upbringing, your boxing,
my success,
coming up, your success, you as a person. I feel like he helped you a lot coming up as a kid. Was in all your fights, and Bob gets if you don't know Bob, you'd have to know him to kind of understand. But Bob's an interesting character, and sounds like he's back in the mix. Like I'm excited to have Uncle Bob. You training back with your uncle. Yeah. I feel like these last few fights, he's been out of the mix. He's been busy in his own family, his own life. Yeah. But tell me how your visit with Uncle Bob was this past weekend, and if he's going to be helping you train for this next fight.
It was great. Went to Ohio, saw another bullies. I got a business out there with my family that we breed the American bullies, and went and saw the litter. Had to hit Bob up in advance because the last time I was out there, I let Bob know for about a month. I'm like, hey, these are my dates. I'm coming here. Please be there. He's like, I'm there. I'm like, what time you want to train? I'm like, well, I usually go in the morning. Let's get in the morning so I can do another workout or two if I need to. It wasn't 3 days before I started to fly. I just randomly, he calls all the time, and we talk when we can. And I say, hey, Bob, I'm coming this week. I'm just making sure that you're still there. He goes, He goes, I leave for Outer Banks on the 21st. I said, Bob, I get there the 20th. It was. He said, I know. He goes, fuck it. He goes, I'll just come out to California. I'm like, Bob, I don't want you to come out to California right now because I don't have to babysit you. In Ohio, we work out. You go home to your family and go home to your thing.
I need some cereal.
Yeah, I need some cereal. Man, it's been. I love having him out here. I love working with them. But being able to go home to Ohio and having that, structure. We do our number system, and I truly believe he's the only guy that I've worked with that gets me my hands and my feet going. Yeah. The speed, the power, the pop. So it's great to have him back in camp. To be doing camp in Jersey for a few weeks and coming back out to California. It's a 7-hour drive from Ohio, and it's a short flight.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see Bob back in the mix. Like you said, he can be a lot to take care of and handle. But
there's so many stories, man.
Yeah, there's so many stories, and we can talk about more. Yeah.
We spoke on the No Love podcast about how he missed my fight with Takea Mizugaki.
All right, wait, hold on. Since we're talking about Uncle Bob, we got to tell this Uncle Bob story because we got to talk
about the
Owen story.
Shit.
Should we or no?
Yeah, when Owen Carr drugged him.
Oh, no. We won't say any names, but
that's like Owen Carr.
So, man, Bob... Bob doesn't do anything. He's pretty straight edge. He made a pact with himself, and we didn't know this. Like we feel like bad guys now, but we're blaming it on our roommate. So Bob was just chilling, and we were making s'mores.
I was getting ready for my second UFC fight. It was a big card. Chad was just adapted into fighting Conor McGregor. Bob was out here for the end of camp. we leave on Tuesday. This was a Friday, Saturday probably.
Yeah.
We were at home chilling. Me and Chris were roommates. Owen always came over and cooked our meals for us to help out a little bit, or myself. And Owen's like, hey man, let's get Bob an edible. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, he doesn't smoke, do any of that stuff. He used to take me to the clubs when we were like 13, 14 years old, the clubs and the bars in the hometown. And he would go up and order cranberry shots, just straight cranberry. And everyone's like, man, your uncle's a fool, man, just going to a club asking for cranberry shots. But he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. He made that pact with himself when he was younger to get off all of that. My father and my other uncle were drug addicts their whole entire life. And his father, my grandfather, was a very, very bad alcoholic, so he just didn't want to have that in his life. So I was like, let's get him an edible. So I'm like, all right. Bob's like, well, what are you guys making? S'mores. And Owen had the chocolate s'mores in there and gave Bob. Bob ate the first. He goes, that's pretty good. And and Bob's, like I said, Bob's fucking with Owen the whole entire time. So Owen's like, man, we should give him 2. He's big. He just ate dinner. I'm like, look, dude.
Can I finish the story?
Go ahead. You take it.
Right.
You take it away.
All right. So we had like our roommate had these little chocolates. We had these like little sliver of chocolates, and we made these little s'mores. And some weird idea, we were like, all right, let's give Uncle Bob 1. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's see. Whatever. We'll laugh about it. He won't think it's too funny, but he'll laugh about it too. So we give him 1. And he loved it. Dude, he chowed this. He was a big old smile. He was like, man, those are good. I might have another one. And then we all looked at each other. We were like, nah, we shouldn't. He was like, no. But then he was like, no, we should have he wanted to have another one. Yeah. So our roommate gave him another one. Dude, like an hour. And then I got out of there.
Chris left. Chris bailed. Owen left. Owen took him to the store, and they sent me Snapchats of Bob buying like 5 boxes of cereal. And Bob loves cereal. Like, he absolutely loves cereal. He'll be eating cereal all hours of the day. It doesn't matter. Cocoa Pebbles. But he'll get like bad ones, and he'll get like the worst, like one you would never even want to get, like cluster, like Raisin Bran clusters. I don't know, some shit. So he's sitting there. I'm like, and I call him, and he comes back with all these groceries. And I'm like, Bob. I was like, dude, like, we leave Tuesday, like, for Vegas. Like, what are you gonna do with all these groceries? He goes, take him with me. He goes, take him with me. I said, take him with me. Comes back, he's going through the motion of, I've never had edible. You kind of get, you're laughing, you're giggling, it's good. And then if you ate too much, it just keeps climaxing and going. Then you're like, holy shit. Like, so these guys leave. Bob's, going through his, spell of being high. He's laughing, he's giggling, he's, making kind of story. His eyes are like, man, he is just laughing. He's sitting on the couch, and these guys are gone. I'm sitting on another couch. We're watching TV. And I keep watching.
Hey, Cody's blowing me up, by the way. He's like, bro, come help me, man. This is messed up. You left me here with Bob. He's going off.
Yeah. So I watch it unfold. I'm like, because I've been in an edible situation where it turned me sober from 10 months. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't watch porn. I didn't do any of that. I have sex for 10 months because I was so high that I prayed to God, if he let me come sober, I would give up everything that I thought was not good for me. And I was like, it went 10 months with doing it. And 10 months after I smoked my first joint, I thought I was going to get struck dead. But long story short, let's go back to Bob. He's sitting there. I can see him like just watching the TV, and he would like pop up. Like he was like trying to catch himself. And I was like, oh, shit. And I'm not trying to laugh. I'm not trying to make eye contact with him. So I'm just trying to look at my phone or something. And then he would go back to watching TV, and he'd sit there. They'd pop back up. And I'm like, oh. And then it would probably do that for like 5 minutes. And he finally goes, Cody. I was like, what's up? He goes, something's wrong. And I was like, what do you mean something's wrong? Like, you ate something bad? I'm like, oh shit, he's going through it. He goes, no. He goes, it feels like I've been drugged. He said, just like that. He goes, feels like I've been drugged. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? You feel drugged? I'm like, not trying to bust up a laugh. Like, oh shit, man. Like, he ate too much. He's feeling it. And then after that, he just looked at me and goes, I'm like, what are you feeling? He goes, I feel it in my neck, dude. He goes, I feel it in my neck, dude.
Dude, that was like the longest going joke.
Yeah, and then he popped up, and it was literally, man, I tried to have him like, then it was like to where he was 4 a.m, man. He was still high. And like, it took over him.
I felt so bad, but of course, me and Cody, like, we blamed all on our roommate.
For the second one, because he did it. He's like, he's like, dude, he's a big dude. He just ate dinner. We give him 2. I'm like, well, he's never had it. Like, I don't think he should. That's on you if he gets high. And that's what I said. So I'm like, all right. And that's exactly what happened. He ate too much. Dude, I literally was up in the morning with it. We had the UFC Unfiltered coming the next day to film, and we're going to go to the river and everything. And Bob was like, what do I do? How do I get it out? He didn't even know what edible was. And like, he's like, call Odin. He called him Odin. He's like, call that motherfucker right now. He's like, call him. He goes, what'd he give me? What'd he give me? He kept saying, I'm like, bro, relax. It's an edible. He's like, edible? What the fuck's an edible? I'm like, an edible, it's like it's an edible. It's just THC. You eat it. It was in the s'mores. It'd be good. And he's like, man, I made a pact with God when I was incarcerated that I wouldn't do it. And then I was like, fuck, I felt so bad. I'm like, dude, okay. I'm like, you have to get out of your system. He's like, well, how do you want me to do that? I said, well, you got to, stick your finger down your mouth. He goes, oh, fuck, I ain't doing that. And I was like, all right, you just got to drink a bunch of water. I didn't know what to do. I was just trying to tell him whatever I thought that I would do would help me. So he's slamming water. I went, keep drinking water, keep drinking water. He's at this table, right? He's drinking. He has his mouth just full of water like a chipmunk. I said, keep drinking water, Bob. He goes, looks at me in the deadest serious voice ever. He goes, I can't. I'm full. He drank so much water. I felt so bad. And then we had to take him outside and get the air. He was ready to kill him. I said, oh, whatever you do not come back to this house. If Bob catches you, he's going to fuck you up. Like, straight up, if he could. He couldn't see. He was messed up. So like 4 miles walking him outside. Finally, the next morning I come down and Bob was sleeping on the couch. Come down the stairs. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm nervous to see, how Bob's going to react. Come up, I see the covers, dude. Like he's laying like
he was high.
His eyes were just showing. And I just walked down. I just got the eyes. His eyes were just moving. Look at
bunch of cereal bowls at his feet.
Cereal everywhere. I said, Bob, how you feeling? He goes, I feel hungover, and he didn't move. I felt so bad. He was fucked up for like 3 days.
So that's our little Bob story. I thought you guys get a little laugh out of that. But yeah, so let's talk about these boxing fights that just happened this past weekend. If you guys got to catch them, Evander Holyfield stepped in as a late replacement to fight Vitor Belfort, and we had Anderson Silva fight Tito Ortiz. Now. Let's talk about the Anderson Tito Ortiz fight real quick because I saw the highlights. I didn't get to see it live, and all I saw was that perfect right, or it was like I think it was a right
it's like
hook.
A clubbing right hand.
Yeah, it was like a little hook over the top, connected right on his jaw, and Tito went lights out. And
the follow-up left hooks were what really put the lights out.
Yeah.
But, we spoke on my podcast that Tito is cut down to 200 pounds. He's been fighting at 205, the extra weight, short notice. Dude, Anderson Silva was coming off a fight with Savage Jr. Looked good.
Dude, I told everyone that Anderson has really good boxing.
And and the thing is that even saying that he's going back to his MMA career, he was known for a prolific striker. He was that's what he's known for, knocking out these crazy duck and dodges, seeing punches. And Tito, he's not a chump, not in the striking game, but really he was more MMA based, ground and pound, dirty boxing.
Takedown, ground and pound.
Yeah, that's what he was. He was a ground and pound. So I didn't think that was going to be good for Tito. I really like Tito.
Did it happen pretty quick?
Yeah, first round was like 50-some seconds, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah.
So it looked like he just came at him, and then Anderson's just playing the Bob and weed game against the ropes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, look, one.
Bob,
Look,
I saw him play the same thing
2,
at Wild Card Boxing.
Boom. 3 left hooks, though. And each one was short from his chest. And each time he was throwing those left hooks, his chin was rising up.
Yeah.
So, but if you look earlier in the fight, that's the combo that he was doing. If you look earlier in the fight, he was going right hand, left hook. And, Anderson saw that, got back up in the ropes. Look, one, boop. Look, eyes on him, bam. And he knew that was coming. Then the follow-up, left hook, boom. Done.
Nice. That was sick. Yeah, congrats to Anderson. I don't think Tito will be back in the boxing ring anytime soon. But Anderson's on a tear in the boxing. Let's see him and Jake Paul. I want to see that, honestly. Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul.
I would like to do that as well.
Yeah, why not? I think he would represent MMA the best in boxing. I think the Diaz brothers would do a good job representing boxing, but I think Anderson has the perfect game for Jake. I think he'll box him, and he's a smart fighter. He uses good fight IQ.
Dude, he's gonna outbox. He's gonna that fight movement wise. Woodley didn't have the best movement. Yeah, he's a powerful striker, especially when you have 4-ounce gloves on. You're knocking the shit out of these guys. And nothing taken away from Woodley's career as a martial artist. He was great. But in boxing, it's combination, it's footwork, it's defense, it's the sweet science blended together. It's not that one shot that's going to throw your equilibrium off. You're going for a takedown or you're going to go for an elbow or a knee. It's follow-up punches. It's third, fourth, fifth, sixth shots that are stunning them. Working off your jab, working on your footwork. And Jake Paul outboxed him. But now you're going against, if you're going to say you're going to do a Silva fight with Jake Paul, it's a different beast. And you don't see Jake Paul saying too much. He said, I respect Silva. He respects me. But he knows that if you're going to go this MMA route, that's your next best fight for you. If you're going to go that, like, who else are you going to fight? All right, now you just beat Woodley. You're going to rematch Woodley again? No, now he's trying to go with the Fury fight. So he knows, like, dude, that's a boxer that has, more, fights than I do, and can go there and he knows he can beat him. Because, Fury didn't look the best himself. But in his defense, as we talk about what's next, the Holyfield Vitor fight, is that Fury fought an MMA fighter. And those strikes, as you know, are not as crisp and sharp as a regular boxer or boxing trainers that he spars with. Like the MMA shots come wild, looping punches that are, MMA gloves. It's a different range. So that could have possibly threw him off. I think that's what I spoke about on my podcast, was that it's going to be bad for Holyfield. He's not going to be able to jab him. He's not going to be able to keep that pressure that Vitor comes with, and just the different angles that he's used to. You can't slip and roll these kind of shots.
And then, poor Holyfield. Like, man, I don't know what he was thinking trying to, fight short notice versus TRT Belfort. Belfort hits hard, and, he's been
comes a fight.
A former champ. He knows how to win, and he's a good boxer. He was always a good striker in MMA. I can't remember what kind of chances I gave Holyfield in the MMA rundown show we do, but I hope I didn't give him too much love, because like Belfort went out there and just destroyed him.
I think this is my first time that I was 100% of my picks. I was right.
Good job.
Yeah,
good job.
My bookie.
Hopefully, we'll see. Belfort probably will want to do some more boxing matches. Of course, Silva will too. I think Holyfield should be done. And I also think Tito, I don't know. I'm not going to speak on Tito, but
we saw Triller come out and say, $30 million winner takes all against, Vitor and Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul stated that he wants to see an escrow, this and that. But, Jake Paul's not running the jump to sign to fight Vitor or Anderson. I think, Vitor calling him out, Silva's doing more of a, nonchalant, actions speak louder than words kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Belfort or Silva, let's take your opinion. What would you rather see? Is it a $30 million purse on the line, winner takes all?
Belfort and Silva?
No, Belfort versus Jake Paul. Thriller's presidents, owners came out and said that they would put a $30 million purse up, winner takes all. And Jake Paul responded like he wants to see an escrow.
I saw that on Ariel's show, right? I would rather see Anderson versus Jake Paul. I want to see Vitor win another boxing fight. I think Anderson's 2 last fights were pretty. What's the word I'm looking for? They were entertaining, and they were they showcased that he's actually a good boxer.
He beat a legit world champion. He beat Chavez. It's a famous, but the boxing is in their blood.
I want to see Silva versus Jake Paul.
Same. Let's make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
Let's go somewhere and make that happen. Put that $30 million bet up. But also, Jake Paul said that his next opponent wants to be Jorge Masvidal. But Masvidal has 2 fights left in his contract. Now you're sitting in Dana White's position. You're like, man, my MMA fighters are getting beat by this dude. Do you let Jorge go and smash him up?
I don't think he will.
You don't think he will?
No. I think it's too much on the line to have his company's name like that. Like, since Jake's already beat 2 MMA, especially the former champion, Woodley, I don't think Dana wants to have the UFC smeared anymore by Jake Paul. I think, he's looking at it that way.
So you let the Silva fight happen?
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's on a contract.
For sure.
Well, Silva.
Yeah, we'll see. That's entertaining.
Yeah, I'm all 3 of those matchups.
Yeah.
If they do Masvidal, Belfort, Silva, I'm tuning in. Even in Jake Paul, I'm tuning in for Jake Paul as well. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be the first to admit it. Let's see. You know, we don't know how high his ceiling is, how high he can take this. You know, he's young. He's got a good team around him. Obviously, got an upper hand on a lot of people starting out their career is the money that he has to be able to do all the training like we talked about, the recovery, just the training, that's a huge thing. That's what holds a lot of people from probably reaching their full potential is the money is not there at all.
Yeah, it takes money to fully prepare the right way for a high level MMA fight.
I stopped living fight to fight after I made a fight. That was my first main event.
Yeah, people understand, man. People understand the grind and what you have to go through to finally
over a decade
break through and make some decent money. So I think that's good to wrap up right there, man. That's going to be episode 2 with Rollin' with the Homies.
Rollin'.
Thanks for everybody watching and listening. We'll catch you next time.
Sorry, Bob.